Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Tuesday the 20th of January.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda.
How low will they go? We have the lowdown on the falling gas prices.
Fidela shows us how a click a day could keep illnesses away.
And Alan profiles a young DJ spinning his way to the top of the industry.
Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahario.
And me, Regis Isheja, and over the next hour we'll bring you all the latest news, sports, and lifestyle headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And the Rise and Shine team are here in the studio, guys. It's Tuesday. What's going on in the world of the money?
Well, it's Tech Tuesday and I got to visit a website that's slowly transforming the health sector in Rwanda. It's really amazing. I have a lot to speak there.
All right, Arnold, sports, what do you have for us?
The latest in the Africa Cup of Nations and the Australian Open, the year's first Grand Slam, has started.
Nice, nice. All right. Alan, what do you have for us in entertainment?
I've got a little bit of...
Oh.
That's right, a little bit of music today.
All right.
It seems like this is like a secret passion of yours as well, huh?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. All that and more is still to come, but first, Rise and Shine story of the day.
Gas oil prices recently fell to a record low of $70 from $115 a barrel and are expected to fall even further in the first half of this year. Since this fall, consumers were expected to benefit from low gas prices in form of reduced commodity prices, as less foreign currency will be spent to pay for petroleum supplies. This, however, has not been the case yet. Here, at local gas station, fuel prices are now down to a whooping 895 Rwandan francs from a previous 1,100 francs last year. And for these station operators, business is looking better than ever as more traffic is now hitting their station.
ubona ko abakiriya clientele yariyongereye kubera ko umukiriya iya anywera ku giciro gitoya baba benshi cyane kurenza uko byari bikiri birebire. Ubu ngubu ubona ko abakiriya biyongereye, amataxi baranywa cyane kubera umuvomazi wari ndende, ubona ko dufite abakiriya benshi kurenza mbere uko byari bimeze.
With about a month gone now since oil prices fell, consumers continue to express their frustrations, saying they're yet to enjoy low prices on commodities and transport. Despite this unfortunate situation, this is expected to be short-lived as the Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Agency recently promised to revise transport rates to reflect the current situation.
Muri iyi minsi baratubwira ko dufite icyizere cy'uko ahubwo bigiye kumanuka cyane, bizarushaho kumanuka. Nta wavuga ko bizazamuka kiretse habaye indi crise. Mu minsi ishize hari ibiciro bari bagabanyije ku baturage, ndumva hari amafaranga bakuyeho kuri kilometero. Rura yarabitangaje cyane cyane ku bajya hanze, abakora ingendo zo hanze byagiye bihinduka cyane, barakuyeho amafaranga 50 ku kilometero. Bitarahinduka cyane ni ku biciro by'ibiribwa. Ntabwo nzi ubwo wenda ni leta muri Minisiteri y'Ubucuruzi ishobora kwiga icyo kibazo.
Good news for both business owners and consumers. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
How do gas prices dropping affect the everyday Rwandan? And is this a one-time thing, or do they believe that this can be the beginning of something even better? We hit the streets to find out.
nibonye kuri televiziyo mu makuru
hari akantu kiyongera abakiriya bariyongereye hari nk'umuntu yazaga ashobora kunywa 5 kubera ko yagabanutse akaba yanywa 6 kandi amaritiro ariyongera uriye nimba yanywaga 5 bakaduha amaritiro 4 n'ibice ubasigaye anywa 5 tukama amaritiro 5 n'ibice 6.59.
Ku bakiriya tuba dusanganyweyo esansi yagabanutse bariyongera cyane. Uhita ubona ko hari ikintu cyahindutse kuko abenshi batinye ibiciro bihanitse cyane.
Uko twumva ahandi hatari mu Rwanda tuvaho byaragabanutse cyane. Abari abakiriya batubwira ngo ahandi byaragabanutse cyane cyane. Tukaba twanifuza ko bakongera bakagabanyaho gatoya.
By'ukuri byaranshimishije ariko iyo urebye ubona ahandi bavuga ko ibiciro biri hasi cyane kurusha ahangaha. Tukumva twebwe ari uko byagabanuka nibura gakeya bikamanuka munsi.
So it seems like everyone's pretty happy about this drop in prices.
Everybody's very happy, Makeda. What happened is worldwide, petroleum barrels, the prices went down. So, subsequently then at gas stations, the price goes down. And it went down in a way it has rarely gone down. It went from like 1.05 to 800 and something, which is unbelievable to a lot of motorists, especially motor drivers. Everybody's very happy about this. Taxi drivers,
right.
They're very happy about it.
So do they think that the prices are going to stay where they are, or are they thinking that it's too good to be true, it's going to go right back up?
Right. When I was actually talking to the people in the street, they were saying that they hope it even goes lower. So they're not thinking it's going to go up, but it's been amazing for them lately what has happened. They hope it's going to trigger to other things as well, like food, other things, because most of them depend on gas prices.
Right.
Because if you have to bring potatoes from Musanze, for example, you have to pay for that. You have to pay for the gas. So it impacts a lot of things. It influences a lot of things.
Did you find anyone stocking up on gas? People who were like, if this thing goes away, I want to be ready.
I did not. But one of the people at the gas stations, what they were telling me was that if you were, pumping gas for like 5,000, you're now going for 6.5, 7,000 because now you can. Because it's basically you bring the same amount of money, but you have more gas. So they're happy about it.
So did you hear any kind of, because it seemed like everyone in your videos, they were pretty gassed about it. Gassed. They were happy about it, So did you hear anyone that was a little bit, how can we say, that was a little bit, apprehensive about what was happening?
There's a motor driver that told me that because everybody's this excited, he's just trying to stay even keel. Because he doesn't want to get too excited, and then all of a sudden it goes back to like 1 point something. So he's being very cautious about the whole thing. He's hesitant. He's not sure it's going to stay this way, especially since food prices haven't gone down as a result. Right. And, bus ticket prices haven't gone that down since the implementation of these new prices.
Oh, but I heard that transport prices, they've gone down just a bit.
It's gone down, but it hasn't gone down to the way they wanted it to go down. So Rwanda has applied a lot of great things. For example, 50 francs for bus drivers, and then for those going abroad, those traveling abroad, everything has gone down a little bit, but it's not as much as they will have hoped so. So the manager at the gas station told me they're hoping in the next week or so it could go down even a bit more, because even the people I was talking to were telling me that, in neighboring countries, the prices have gone down even more. So they're hoping that it goes down in Rwanda as well.
Okay, but why do you think that it hasn't gone down here yet?
I don't know. That's a Rura thing. So you will have to actually talk to them. Hopefully, we've invited them, so hopefully they can make it on the show. But they're gonna have to explain to us what it's gonna take, what it's gonna take for it to go down even more. And then you have to talk to people at the Ministry of Commerce, because they're the ones in charge of petroleum and all that, so that they can tell us what's going on.
But the general feeling is that it's just gonna drop more, and hopefully it will roll over to other industries.
There's already a relief that they don't have to pay as much as they used to. Now they're hoping it can go down even more, so that not only gas prices go down, but food prices go down.
I mean, I can imagine people in industry, people with factories, and the likes, they're also...
They're excited.
They're
hyped.
Well, I'm pretty excited about it as well. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's get to today's money, the business. Fidel Karangwa has the details.
Business stories making headlines today. The Agaciro Development Fund plans to develop a long-term investment framework which should start utilizing the money it has mobilized. The fund, which stood at over 24 billion in December of 2014, had many Rwandans urging managers to invest their money so far raised in projects like hospitals and schools. However, this was not done as the money that was still being invested in bonds to gain profits. Officials announced that they are now in the process of hiring a consultancy firm that will advise the board on how best to go into equity investments for projects in housing and electricity. Rwanda has announced that it will soon start direct flights daily between Entebbe and Nairobi. The development follows the recent bilateral agreement between Rwanda and Kenya permitting Rwanda and Kenya Airways rides between the Entebbe, Nairobi and Entebbe Kigali routes. This comes as part of the airline's plans to further strengthen its footprint in the regional aviation sector as it caters for the demands of business and stay-shore travelers. Now today, over 1 billion people around the globe lack access to basic healthcare services. It is for this reason that the government of Rwanda is implementing various strategies like the Mutuelle de Santé, among others, to enable as many people to have access to healthcare. I have visited a new company that is providing information on healthcare services across the country, one click at a time. Let's check it out. With more people being busy and not having time to wait on long lines, and technology growing at a fast rate, it is now possible to receive quick services online. Leah, a pharmacist in Kigali, says their clients have been pleased with the services they receive since they availed their information online.
Kuba farumasi yacu igaragara ku rubuga rwa Kigali birabashimisha cyane cyane abantu bavuye hanze bakeneye kugira aho bagurira imiti mu Rwanda bakagira amahirwe yo kuvizita ama website agendanye n'ibintu by'ubuzima bahita babona na farumasi bakifuza kumenya ahantu ikorera bakaza bakatubaza ibigendanye n'imiti bifuza natwe tukabafasha yaba tutayifite tukagerageza no kwibashakira ahandi.
From pharmacies to hospitals, all have seen a major increase in clients as customers can now find all their necessary information on kigalihay.com, a website that acts as a source of health and medical information in Kigali, offering healthcare directory, health education, and allowing people to interact with doctors.
Birumvikana kuko hari abakiriya basanzwe tugira bo mu Rwanda n'abatuye muri uyu mujyi hafi hakiyongeraho noneho n'abandi baturutse hanze y'igihugu.
Having experienced technical difficulties in the past, this website restarted its operations in 2014. So why did these entrepreneurs choose to stick to an online platform despite its challenges?
Today, the world is using technology. There's a lot of IT in use. And look at it, whenever someone thinks of a company, whenever they want to seek the services of an organization or a certain institution, they'll automatically think about its website. They'll immediately go to the net to try and search for this company. So we thought with all the people who are struggling in Kigali, Kigali is undergoing great urbanization. People are becoming busier every day. People don't get enough time to visit health facilities when they are sick. In that way, they end up developing chronic diseases. They only seek health care when their diseases are already complicated. You find people going to the health facilities and they end up queuing for a long time. They're on the queues, and in the end, when they reach the doctor, maybe they tell them, I'm referring you to another doctor, this is not the doctor that you need. So we found that this web portal could really even link the providers and the patients themselves. So that's how we came up with this idea of kigalihay.com.
And for everyone still reluctant about using online information for medical help, Leah had this to share.
Nk'umuntu udasanzwe ujya ku ma website namugira inama yo kugerageza kujya mu ma cyber cafe. Hari igihe aba adafite ubushobozi bwo kuba yifitiye mu rugo rwe, akajya mu ma cyber cafe akarebaho information zimwe na zimwe ziba zikenewe mu birebanye cyane n'ubuzima. Nka farumasi akabona ahantu yashaka kujya gukura umuti byihuse bimutunguye, cyane ko bamwe na bamwe hari igihe baba badafunguye amasaha yose. Iyo agiye kuri website akabona byibuze na contact z'iyo farumasi yahamagara tukaza tukamufasha byihuse.
Karangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda. Joining us in studio are Dr. Airaba Eric and Gilbert Viraro, founders of KigaliHey.com. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, now tell us briefly, how does this website work exactly for the people who maybe have not visited it and are wondering how it works exactly? Just tell us briefly how it works.
Yeah, KigaliHey.com is an online free website that everyone can access to find health and medical information. Whether you want to find a hospital, a clinic, a pharmacy, and so far it's free of charge.
So you mentioned that it's free of charge, but then again, this is your business. You guys are obviously trying to make profit. So how does that work? How can you make profit in a business like this, which is an online free website?
Yeah, to access the website for visitors, it's free of charge, but we have advertisement. Yeah, so one of the way to make money is an online advertisement. We have companies listed, and we have clinics. Everyone who's listed on the website has just to give us a small amount to make the website running. Yeah.
So for the hospitals and pharmacies that are listed on your websites, are these people that you went out and reached out to, or actually these people, did these people actually come up to you and ask to work with you? How did that work exactly?
Yeah, initially we went to see them. We tell them our idea, and most of them replied positively. They wanted to increase their public viewer, and yeah, so people like it. So the business owners, hospitals, pharmacies, they like it, and they accepted to work with us.
So I noticed that there's a part on the website where you actually can consult a doctor. How does this work exactly? So are these doctors professionals or specialists in certain areas whom we can say are reliable and we can trust the information that they're giving us? Because there's a lot of hackers, a lot of situations like that happen online that people could feel a bit unsafe using that. So how does that work for you guys?
Well, thank you. The doctors that you see on there in our section called Bazamuganga, they are all specialist doctors. They are all doctors who are registered with the Rwanda Medical Council, and they are all doctors who have accepted their photos and their profiles to be on there. So when you log in, there's a section where you can log in, and then you can write the doctor an email. There's the doctor's phone number. You can send them an SMS, or you can even call them for a one-on-one consultation.
Yes, and what has been the response so far? Have you actually received a lot of feedback from people who say they're using the website and it has actually been working very well for them?
Yep, everyone, we are receiving requests, advices, people are asking advice, and we reply them immediately. Yeah.
So this being a business, what should we look forward to? I noticed that it's so far only in English, and obviously not everyone in Rwanda can speak English. Most of them actually speak French and Kinyarwanda. So yeah, are there plans to maybe change it to a French and Kinyarwanda version as well?
Yes, currently the website KigaliHey.com is being published in English only, but we have plans of publishing it in Kinyarwanda to broaden our viewership. Then we also have plans of introducing French, but it's just a startup website. And recently we were lucky to receive a grant from a competition that we went into, and we hope that with this grant we shall have Kinyarwanda publications, we shall have more richer content. We hope to subscribe to other websites which will give us richer content. And this content, we shall be able to publish it all in both English and Kinyarwanda, then later to French.
It is very great what you guys are doing on here, actually very inspiring, and I hope very many more people will be looking out for your websites. I wish you guys all the best, and I look forward to working with you again and having you on the show again, obviously.
Thank you.
You're up to date with today's business headlines. Sports news is coming up next in just a minute with Arnold Quizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news with me, Arnold Quizera. Starting with cycling, Team Rwanda were brought back to earth as the Tour of Egypt came to an end. The Team Rwanda cycling team finished 7th in the general classification at the 5-day Tour of Egypt that ended yesterday in Hurghada. After a brilliant start with Valence Daisenga winning the prologue stage last Wednesday with Anjadi Hadi coming third, the following 4 days were a nightmare for the Rwandan riders who had to deal with the unusual windy conditions. The Tour of Egypt was the first competition on the 2015 UCI Africa Tour calendar as teams attempt to qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympic Games in Brazil. The team returned last night and will commence preparations for the Africa Continental Cycling Championships scheduled for February 9th to the 14th in South Africa. Ana Ivanovic was the biggest shock on day one of the Australian Open as big guns strolled through to the second round. Maria Sharapova ruined Petra Matic's 24th birthday on Monday by recording a 6-4, 6-1 victory to advance to the second round of the Australian Open. The Russian 5-time Grand Slam champion faced some staunch resistance from the 184th ranked Croatian in the second set, despite the one-sided scoreline. But what was mostly able to convert the crucial points when it mattered. Sharapova will now meet compatriot Alexander Panova in the second round after she beat Romania's Soren Castia 7-5-6 love. Meanwhile, former world number 1 Ana Ivanovic crashed out on the opening day at Melbourne Park. World number 5 Ivanovic was upset 1-6, 6-3, 6-2 by Czech double specialist Lucy Hadreka, making her one of 5 women's seeds to fall during a sun-drenched day session. In the men's draw, Federer, Nadal, Anderson and Andy Murray all advanced to the second round after registering easy victories. Roger Federer strolled into the second round of the Australian Open with a clinical 6-4, 6-2, 7-5 rout of Taiwan's Lu Hen-Yu Sun under the lights of Rod Laver Arena, bidding for his maiden Australian Open title after 3 trips to the final. Andy Murray's 6-3, 6-4, 7-6 win over Indian qualifier Yuki Bambri was not without some anxious moments, the score jarring his knee early in the second set and falling 4-1 behind in the third. And finally, in the Africa Cup of Nations, Group D is set to take center stage today with the day's highlights expected from a star-studded Ivory Coast team. The Elephants, led by Manchester City duo of Yaya Toure and Wilfred Bony, are set to take on Guinea in the day's first fixture. 4-time African champions Cameroon's Indomitable Lions will put their new look squad to test in today's last fixture as they take on Mali.
All right, Arnold, so let's start with the African Cup of Nations. Now, last night, 2 nights ago, that was Zambia played against the Democratic Republic of Congo, a draw. The big guns, the Elephants, the Ivory Coast, Cameroon in action. Who do you think has a better chance of winning this African Cup of Nations? We have Yaya Toure, 4-time Ballon d'Or in Africa. Where do you see the tide shifting towards in this African Cup of Nations?
First of all, there's no Ballon d'Or in Africa. You know, he's the African Player of the Year, yes, Yaya Toure. And when you look at the current Ivory Coast squad, again, as they have come in so many of the past 3 Africa Cup of Nations tournaments, they have a star-studded lineup. You have Wilfred Bony, who Manchester City has just paid £25 million for. You have the likes of Javinho at AS Roma, who's having a fabulous season there with so many assists for the Francis Totti-led team. And then you have a Liverpool player in Kolo Toure, who's also in that team. And then you have Sanya. But when you look at Ivory Coast, they tend not to live up to the hype. But now they have a coach who has won the Africa Cup of Nations before in Hervé Renard, who won it with Zambia, and who many think is a good enough coach to lead them to the Africa Cup of Nations. It's the last tournament for many of these stars, the likes of Yaya Toure. The
golden generation of
the
Ivory
golden
Coast.
Generation, which you think is done with, maybe because Didier Drogba is not there. Right. Yeah. It's the last chance for so many of these, likes of Kolo Toure. It's their last tournament. So many players at this year's Africa Cup of Nations are playing their last tournament. You will also going to see Seydou Keita, for Mali, playing in his last tournament, having played for Mali 93 games. With the Cameroon squad, they have a very young lineup. They don't have a Samuel Eto'o there. There's no Alexander Song. There's no Scott Mbia. There's no even the Rigobert Song, who was at the last Africa Cup of Nations. So Cameroon wouldn't be among the favorites, but they went unbeaten in the qualifiers, which shows you how strong they are. You know, coming, especially when they came up with sides against DR Congo. They beat Ivory Coast in the qualifiers 4-1. Now that's how good this Cameroon squad is. But when you look at the favorites, many will put in an Algeria, which is ranked 16th in the world, Ivory Coast, of course, and Ghana. You know, with the Ayew brothers.
Black Stars.
Yeah, the Ghana Black Stars, 4 times African champions. You will put them there. No Nigeria, unfortunately, because they failed to qualify.
They did not qualify.
Yet
right.
they were the defending champions. So I think it's a very open Africa Cup of Nations. We've had some early shocks. You know, the likes of Guinea, led by Patrick Aubameyang, Gabon, led by Patrick Aubameyang, putting up impressive performance. So several teams are going to, can walk out with the trophy. Tunisia also being one of the favorites.
The favorites in this one. All right, Australian Open. Shock, Anna Ivanovic is out. Roger Federer goes through. Maria Sharapova goes through. What do you think happened with Ivanovic?
I think Anna Ivanovic, it's more of rust. If you look at the way she won the first set, 1-6, then she went to lead on the second set, 4-2 at some point, which she went on to lose 7-6. I think with Anna Ivanovic, it was a case of she underestimated her opponent in the Czech double specialist, the former being a Grand Slam champion, but in the doubles, as she's playing her first singles tournament. So you feel she had just come off also a win in the Fed Cup in the Czech Republic, beating USA in the Fed Cup. But when you look at the men's draw, it's the most open Grand Slam tournament we will have, because coming into the tournament, Rafael Nadal is just coming back from injury. Roger Federer has just won the Brisbane Open. You have Andy Murray, who's also coming back from injury. Stanislas Wawrinka has not yet regained form. The world #1 Novak Djokovic, who's playing early today, is also not in the best of form coming into this tournament. So it's a very,
lot of question marks.
Yeah, a lot of question marks in them. I think the men's draw will give us a lot of great games. Yeah, but expecting the top seeds to at least get to the last 16. You know, and then we have only one withdraw yet in Joan Del Potro. So Jean-Martin Del Potro, sorry. So we expect a very open Australian Open Grand Slam, as always.
All right, the Tour of Egypt, Valence Naisenga won one race.
One stage.
And then Team Rwanda doesn't do so well at the end. What happened?
I think it's a matter of coming down to inexperience. Valence Naisenga, it was his first Tour of Egypt. When you look at the cyclists who had the most experience at this tour was Jadi Havi, who came in and he finished 23rd in the tour. The Tour of Egypt, very different conditions from the Tour of Rwanda. But again, I think the numbers games, it shows you how Rwanda played the numbers game in the Tour of Rwanda to win the Tour of Rwanda. And when they went to the Tour of Egypt, where they have less cyclists, they couldn't do the shoving, and the Rwandan cyclists are still playing a very clean game. You know, when you see these guys do the bike hiking, there's a lot of pushing and shoving coming in from the more experienced teams. But there are still more chances for the Rwandan cyclists to qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympics. You know, you have the likes of Valence Naisenga, who's listed as the 4th best cyclist
in Africa right now.
On the continent.
All right, Arnold, the man of many talents. That's the sports news for you. Makeda and I will be right back after the break.
You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Welcome back. Let's take a look now at news making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world. The Rwanda Housing Authority has committed to making the provision of low-cost housing a priority in 2015. This comes as a response to a long-standing shortage of affordable city housing. Officials have confirmed that prime land in Ndera and Kanombe has been acquired for the establishment of more than 2,000 housing units, and it's been affirmed that the construction of the housing units is on course. The authority is currently looking for a consultancy firm to draw the housing designs for the proposed units.
Canadian company Stevia Life is set to establish a stevia processing plant in Rwanda. Stevia is a low-calorie, green, leafy plant originating from South America that's used as a natural sweetener in drinks and meals. Officials say plans are in advanced stages and the proposed site for the plant will be either Rulindo District or Kigali Special Economic Zone. The plant is expected to produce 500 tons of stevia per year.
The 2015 meeting of the World Economic Forum will take place this week in Davos Clusters, Switzerland. The forum is expected to bring together over 40 heads of state and government officials to discuss global challenges including environment and resource scarcity, employment, gender parity, long-term investing, and infrastructure, among others. According to the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Ambassador Clave Gatete, the Rwandan delegation will be holding meetings at the forum with business leaders and investors interested in the opportunities Rwanda has to offer.
And in international news, at least half of the people kidnapped by Islamist group Boko Haram in Cameroon have reportedly been set free. Officials said the captives were set free after defense forces pursued the attackers who were heading back to Nigeria. The militants had taken 80 people hostage, many of whom are said to be children. The group has taken control of towns and villages in northeast Nigeria and begun threatening neighboring nations. Cameroon had criticized Nigeria for failing to do more to confront Boko Haram.
Let's take a look now through some of the front pages. Sunny Nayombia from the New Times joins us now. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get straight into the first headline. Gasabo District has nullified some building permits, some construction permits. Tell us about it.
Well, it's rather an interesting development. Yesterday, the Gasabo District, with its newly elected mayor, Stephen Wamulangwa, I hope I've pronounced it correct, nullified 800 building permits, construction permits that were issued between last year and 2012, because they actually found out that a lot of these building permits, some of them, okay, there were about 4 cases that they did investigations and found out that these permits were actually issued, but they were not put into the system. So that probably meant that someone within the land office was just giving people permits and not really registering them. So these guys had valid building permits, but they were not actually put into the system. That actually a lot of people were saying, a lot of the district people believe that a lot of these guys were getting building permits illegally so that they could go behind the Kigali master plan. So, for example, if they got a building permit for a place that was demarcated a school, they could then build whatever they want. And then when the Gasabo district said, hey, you need to move, they would actually be paid a lot of money, okay, because they had
for error.
Yeah, because they built a property and they had a valid permit. But then it's rather interesting if they're saying that there's this problem in Gasabo, okay, what happens? It must obviously probably be a problem also in other districts. And what does this also mean for the former mayor of Gasabo? Because are you trying to tell me that this new guy was just elected maybe a month ago, and then within a month this has come out? So I would have to wonder, did the old mayor know about this?
Right.
You know?
And how will it be rectified? Because
well, right now, yes. So now every person who had a building permit within this time will actually probably have to go back and then then say, hey, this is my building permit. Then they'll have to go into the system.
So they have to be registered, even if it's not their fault they didn't get registered.
Okay, and that is just for the people who have building permits and have not yet started building.
Right.
So the guys who have, because I then asked, I wondered, what will happen with the guys who have already built?
Right.
Okay, so that was going to be, now they're saying that, you know, first we're going to deal with the guys who have building permits, then we're now going to, then after that, we're going to deal with the guys who actually built illegal structures.
Drama.
Right. Well, a word that's really used, especially in government offices, is procurement.
Oh, yes.
A lot of folks, especially in the private sector, say it's been a problem every time you walk into a government office. You have that word comes. You could be sealing a deal. Procurement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're basically reforming them. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about it.
Well, yesterday, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, Kampeta Sainzoga, was in the Parliament to discuss some amendments to the procurement law. Right now, the procurement law that we use obviously has a few problems, because if you look at like the kind of money we've lost as a nation, we've lost about 24 billion francs, okay? And that is according to the 2012-2013 Attorney General report, that they've lost a lot of money because of procurement practices. So this law is going to try to rectify that problem and see if we can, you know, cut down the losses that the kind of money that we're losing because of, you know, poorly trained officers, poorly made procurement processes. Okay, so this law that they're discussing it aims to kind of deal with that issue.
Right. So lastly, the Boko Haram situation, once again, we're hearing about it again. Some dozens were kidnapped yesterday in Cameroon this time. Mm-hmm. Is this becoming a regional problem now? Because at first it was only Nigeria.
Well, I find that rather interesting because though there was an international response to the Chibok attack where they took the girls and everyone was talking about, you know, bring back our girls, bring back our girls.
It became trendy, basically.
It never moved beyond that. But now it seems that because it has moved outside Nigeria, now they're attacking Cameroon, and all of a sudden it has taken a more regional aspect.
Right.
You know, now Chad is involved. Okay, but you have to ask yourself, why did it take so long? Okay, what was it about the Nigerian situation, Nigerian government, or the Nigerian, or even ECOWAS, which is the West African Economic Community? Why didn't they do anything about this? Okay, you know, last week I believe the president had a press conference and he was talking about the issue of terrorism. Terrorism is no longer a domestic issue; it's now a lot more, you know, international, and it's up to, say, African nations to not just say, you know, Al-Shabaab is just your problem, you know, Boko Haram is just your problem, you know, Al-Qaeda.
I'll deal with it when it gets to me, basically.
Exactly. Right. We have to be more proactive, because not after they're done with Nigeria, they won't stop. They'll just keep going, and that's what's happening in Cameroon. It's a problem.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Sunny, for coming once again.
All right, lots more still to come. Lifestyle is up next. Plus, we take a look at what's hot right now in our daily debate section, Hot Topics. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Lifestyle now. Alan, what's on the agenda?
Well, today is all about music and specifically the DJ world.
Okay, I saw you earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, looking forward to it.
At just 21 years old, DJ Toxic is one of the youngest, most popular DJs in the country. And age is definitely not stopping this young artist from chasing his dreams. From DJing in different clubs, private parties around the city, to doing shows in neighboring countries such as Burundi and Uganda, this disc jockey shows no sign of slowing down. Let's take a look. For some people, finding your life's passion can prove to be very challenging. But for DJ Toxic, music was always his passion. At just 19, he already knew what he wanted to do for the rest of his life.
2 years ago, yeah, I started my career, and I'm thankful my family supported me. You know, I was into music first. You know, there's always that one kid who likes to dance, you know, who likes to take a mic, grab a mic, and then, you know, freestyle. I was that kind of kid back in the days. I used to dance, I used to sing, but when I got in DJing, there's something that got me like right away.
Although he initially started doing it as a hobby, a club owner quickly noticed his talent and gave him his first opportunity to become a house DJ. But being the youngest DJ around, he says that he had a lot to prove to gain respect from his peers.
I was the only one being teased, like, who are you? Oh, I'm a DJ. You? I mean, look at you, you're like the youngest in the game and all that. People were asking me, yo, are you, you know, 21 to get in the club and all that? I was like, no, I don't care. I'm just here to do what I love to do, and it doesn't require any type of age. I'm just here to work and express myself.
The young DJ is also quick to point out that his family was always incredibly supportive with his career. As a rookie, he had to rely heavily on his family's financial support just to even make it to the gigs.
When you're still young, money is the problem. Going back and forth to work, you know, I was supposed to ask at home for money, be like, what for? You know, DJing. Oh, okay. Because my mom, I'm thankful, she used to like come in my room and listen to my mixes and be like, oh, I'll hook you up one day with someone. So she kind of pushed me, and I'm thankful for that.
The talented DJ plans to expand his career from not just being one of the hottest DJs in town, but also to produce and promote his own records and also to become a radio personality.
I want to be a DJ my whole life, but a DJ is not always limited to just being a DJ. I just want to be a DJ, a producer, a promoter, but that's going to come a little bit later. But that's where I see myself in like 10 years or 5 years from now. But right now, I'm looking forward to like radio DJ, to go somewhere like, let's say to a football game, why not, basketball game, and just freestyle, and then combine everything together. Yeah, that's what I like.
Although he's performed in countries such as Uganda and Burundi, DJ Toxic hopes that this year he can travel and perform in the country with the biggest, most thriving music industry in Africa, Nigeria. Inshallah, as they say. Alan Karekire, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
Nice
All
one.
right, so that was DJ Toxic. Now, Makeda, you're also a DJ, and I just wanted to know, you know, one of the things I asked him was the fact that, you know, getting paid sometimes can be a challenge, although he says it has gotten better. What is your experience with that?
Yeah, but you know what? That's not only in DJing. That's unfortunately
in a lot of things.
In quite a few different
entertainment
industries. But yeah, entertainment. But also in some other industries, sometimes it can just be hard to get paid, man. That's just the reality of the situation. But like you said, yeah, it is definitely getting better. I think that promoters and different places now are starting to see the importance of having a DJ, because the music is what creates the ambiance for any event that you're having.
Absolutely.
And it's, you know, sometimes people would say, you know, why do it? I have an iPod, I can just, you know, or they would kind of underestimate what it is that a DJ does, and they'll just get whoever will do it for the least amount of money.
Right.
Now people are realizing that DJs are starting to get a following, and that, you know, you have to be skilled. I mean, I love Toxic. Now, if people hear that he's going to be at an event, they're going to go because he knows how to read the crowd, he knows what people want to hear. It's important.
Absolutely. And, you know, one thing you just brought up, that when it comes to support, I think that's also a good thing that he brought up, the fact that his family was very supportive, because I think he probably wouldn't have been able to go as far if he didn't have the encouragement and support.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's that common to hear parents, you know, supporting their child to go into the arts or, you know, being a DJ, you know, for example.
mean, that's what I've heard. I really can't speak on that. Both of my parents were very supportive of anything that I wanted to do. But yeah, it was very nice in your piece when he said that his mother used to come and listen to his mixes and stuff. Yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely. And you know, what advice would you give a young person who wants to get into the industry and become a DJ?
I think, well, first off, just watching the video, it's quite inspiring. Like you said, he's quite young and he's doing very, very well. So I would say if it's really your passion, like you can tell that it's Toxic's passion, you know, obviously go for it. But don't think that just because you like to party or because you like music or you like to dance that you can be a DJ. No, it's actually work, you know. So like anything else, if you're willing to put in that hard work, if you're willing to practice, if you're willing to do all of those things, then for sure, I mean, pursue it and you'll do well. Like Toxic, you see he practices, he has other things that he wants to do. So, you know, if that's what people want to do, then I would say pursue it, especially to girls. Girls, you know, you can do it too.
Yes, there needs to be more female DJs.
For sure, for sure.
Thanks, Makeda.
Well, thank you too.
All right, stay tuned. Hot Topics is coming right up. Welcome back. It's the Hot Topics time again. As always, you can join in on the debates through our social media, whether it's on Facebook or on Twitter. Let's get into our first hot topic, guys. So the first hot topic is actually a very positive one. The Queen of England has this program she calls the Queen's Young Leaders Program, which basically awards young people from different countries of the Commonwealth. It's actually, this year is the very first one, and they're going to be acknowledging 2 young Rwandans who've done great things for their communities. The first one, her name is Nadia Hitimana, and she works in the health sector. And basically, she works with this organization that tackles the issues surrounding menstrual health. And so what they do is they produce affordable menstrual pads for ladies. And then the gentleman, his name is Jean d'Amour Mutoni, and he's also a young guy who is a genocide survivor, and he launched the Acts of Gratitude, which encourages young people to give back to their communities. So these 2 young people are going to the UK in June, and they're going to be getting the award from the Queen herself. So I just thought it was I thought it was a really positive story. And, hey, you know.
What I love about this the most is the fact that we keep on seeing so many young people finding solutions for all the problems that we have in Rwanda. So we don't depend on nobody. We don't need, you know, help from any other country. It's just really amazing and very inspirational.
Especially like when you hear this young kid who's an orphan, you know, he didn't grow up with a family, but now he's teaching young people to give back, even though he didn't grow up with much himself.
So do they get a grant with the award or anything to help them with their cause?
They haven't, what they do, they said they haven't specified, because this is the very first one. What they say is they're going to support the young people through their projects, but they haven't specified whether it's financial support or, you know.
Arnold looks like he has something to say.
I haven't to talk about grants. I thought money, so I was like,
no, but they haven't specified yet, but either way, I think it's still great that they're being acknowledged, and they're going to go to the UK where the Queen will, you know, award them.
Absolutely.
Okay, on to the next hot topic. Now, you know, sometimes you read articles and you're like, is this really happening? Like, it's just crazy. So in Kenya yesterday, there was a protest where school kids from Langata Primary School, which is in Kenya, were protesting because they had a playground that was being taken over by what they're speculating is a government official who wants to turn it into a parking lot because he owns a hotel that's across the street. Now, what's crazy is the fact that police would actually intervene and, you know, fire tear gas on young kids. These kids are between the ages of 6 and 13 years old. And, you know, some of the reports were that the kids were screaming and being carried out, you know, in pain. And I can't understand how they can go as far as using tear gas on kids. What do you guys think?
Is that even legal, is the question?
Well, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's not legal.
I can't think it would be.
Like, why? Who? Like, I don't even. I have nothing to say.
There's no way you can
justification.
You can't justify tear gassing children. Like some of the officials came out in today's Daily Nation, which carries the Kenyan leading daily, which is carrying it as the leading story. And some of the officials are saying these children are being used. Already the Kenyan government has taken actions. The police officer in charge of that division has been suspended from his work. But when you look at effects of tear gas on children, you know, tear gas on able-bodied people can lead to blindness. Now, what will it do to children? You know,
right.
Then you look at effects like failure to give birth. You know, that's one of the effects of tear gas on children, and I think it's high time the Kenyan governments, all governments around Africa, stepped up on the use of tear gas, because children protesting, it doesn't matter if they are being used or not. There is no way you are going to tear gas children.
That's not acceptable.
It's inhuman. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. And, you know, for me, the way I see it, suspending the police guard, because some of the reports I read was that basically the police was protecting this politician who, you know, is seizing this land. So, I mean, for me, it almost goes as far as bullying, you know. So, I don't know. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Some reports you read and you almost like... You almost feel like you have to double check to make sure you're reading the right story, but it's bad.
It's quite
All right.
What do you have next?
Let's go on to the next hot topic. This is another one that just amused me. Do you guys remember last week when we spoke about Fox News, which is an American news station, that basically was talking about attacks in Europe, you know, with the militia, the gunmen that shot down in France, and they were saying that there were no-go zones in Europe, specifically talking about Birmingham in the UK, saying that it's an all Muslim country, and, you know, if you're a Christian, you can't even go into the city. So basically, now they've had to retract because of all the lashback they got, as you saw some of the images, yes, all the backlash they got on Twitter. So now they've retracted, and the anchor of the show, her name is Janine Pirro, went on to say, and I'm just going to read the quote, she said, "We could find no credible sources that indicate that Birmingham is a so-called no-go zone. We deeply regret errors and apologize to the people of Birmingham, our viewers, and all who have been offended." Really? You could not
Just to make you laugh a little bit more, the same day they did the Birmingham report, they did a Paris report saying that what happened at Charlie Hebdo is not an accident, that there's actually a lot of no-go zones in Paris, and the places they cited are places where people who live there are actually very wealthy and very rich. So people in France they felt so bad, they actually went on the street. They felt so offended, they went on the street and asked people who live there if it's actually bad. They were like, what do you mean? Everybody that lives here either owns a Porsche or a Mercedes, so I don't know what you're talking about. Right. So it goes to show you the credibility of Fox News.
I mean, yeah, it's just irresponsible journalism.
No, Alan, read that again. We could.
Even the apology itself, I would just say, we apologize, period. Right. You know, not saying we couldn't find any sources that indicate that Birmingham is a so-called no-go. Really?
I mean, anyways, you know what? Well, now we know who to trust and who not to trust. Moving on. Thank you so much, Alan, for all those hot topics.
All right. Don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us your ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and the reports we do. Find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW, we'd love to see your pictures. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website.
Well, that's all we have time for today. We'd love to hear your feedback, so please do let us know if you have any ideas for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahario.
And me, Regis Isheja, will be here same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of this beautiful team here, have a very good day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.